PUBG Mobile World Invitational is powered by Gamers Without Borders and is brought to you by OnePlus, the official smartphone provider, Nemo TV, the official streaming platform, and STC, the official playout sponsor. Bigatron are just playing out their opponents here with their second chicken dinner of the day. It just leads me to wonder, where have they been the rest of the event? Bigatron, I believe, currently in 5th place. Could have been much higher if they had a better performance over the first 3 days of action, but at least they're showing us they're still a Titan to be dealt with as they pick up, like I said, their second of the day and their second of the event. To be fair, I'm Jason Coppin, still joined by Blank and Blah to break things down in this last match. And there's honestly a lot of things we could unpack. Na'Vi going down early, Valdez still surviving to the very end. I don't know where you guys want to start with, so I'll throw it over to you, Blank. Where do you want to go?
I'm just sad for Na'Vi. Fnatic Zombies 2 days in a row now, well, 2 games in a row where they've just ruined their chances. And it should be so easy as well. I think Na'Vi is just struggling with this team. And I think I know what's going on, which is a case of like Na'Vi is being very, very... aggressive, and they want to take position, and times it is upsetting to see, but honestly, all props to Na'Vi regardless. I think they've had a fantastic run here. I think the major thing for me at the moment is Zeus Esports and Xavier. Who's going to hold on to that 3rd spot? Because currently Zeus is only 5 points behind. They've not had a great game, so they're actually in store for a great game on Erangel coming up.
But speaking about like this particular game though, like yeah, it was a bit of a disappointment from Na'Vi, but Bigatron, like you said, Jason, I don't know where this Bigatron was the first couple of days, but it looks like they're not going to be going out without a fight, right? They're going to be making as much noise as possible and being very, very impactful as well. I love the way they had that final fight against Valdez. Valdez again, Valdez the Murder, Valdez the Circle, Valdez the Survivors, whatever name you want to add on to theirs. They're just so very good, just staying alive at till the very last circle. But Bigatron, some of those nades coming out Blank, those were just pristine from the Indonesians.
Yeah, well, I mean, Indonesia, as well as Bigatron, Red Aliens in particular, have always been known for these nades. Zuxi and Luxi kind of really... invented the game when it came to nade play in Southeast Asia. I mean, we saw China like really reinventing the actual wheel when it came to utility, but I think before that, it was definitely all on Bigatron. There's been some insane nades right in tournaments, and I think that this is more of the Bigatron that I'm used to. I mean, pushing A1 as well in that final fight where they saw that they've got a few knocks onto Valdez tonight. Okay, fine. Now we're going to take your position. Those hay bales are surprisingly easy to nade from that position the Bigatron was in. For Valdez, it's a lot more difficult. So Bigatron set themselves up for massive success in this game, and sure they deserve this. Now they're really contending for that 5th spot, that 3rd spot. If they can maybe get there with another chicken dinner, I'm gonna say it because it's not that unlikely considering we've had a Valdez day, we've had a Na'Vi day. Perhaps today is Bigatron's.
Perhaps. I mean, obviously we still have the last game to go, and Bigatron are looking to still try to move themselves up in the rankings. Let's take a look at our last teams though in this match and see how they did, because there's a couple of names lacking, as we mentioned. Na'Vi not going to be there. Zeus, unfortunately, not there either, with only the 4 points. And Geek Fam, you know, maybe this team we could talk about really quickly. This team I thought would do much better than they're currently doing at the moment. After day 1, they looked pretty promising, I think finishing 2nd overall. But as we talked about with Flash in the Pans, I feel like this team might have been just that, unfortunately.
I feel like Geek Fam, the first couple of days, like they didn't really have some insane days like some of the aforementioned names, right? Like Zeus or Na'Vi for that matter. But I feel like they were very good at being consistent in the top 5 position, getting a decent number of kills, a good balance between placement points and kills as well. But it feels like they kind of ran out of steam at the very last couple of days, right? It's been kind of like a slow downhill journey for them, and that's kind of unfortunate. I felt like they were looking very, very good, but I guess when it comes down to it, Blank, when you really need to step it up and you need to like really go for certain fights, they seem to be lacking in that particular department.
I never understood that phrase, a downward kind of thing, because I feel like you pick up momentum if you're going down a hill, and it's actually tougher to go up a hill, right? But
it could be a rocky downhill, you know, with a lot of rocks and trees.
Yeah. It depends if you're playing Takeshi's Castle. I mean, we've all seen that muddy slope where you need to get to the top. You know, Jason, I'm just bringing in my own obscure references now.
I know that one.
Your own. Oh, you do know that one?
Yeah, okay, there we go. It was rebranded to MXC in the US, and it was
there you go.
A comedy show.
Exactly, so they're slipping down this muddy slope at the moment, unfortunately, not getting towards the top to get towards that final little battleground there. And for Geek Fam, yeah, I would 100% agree with Blair. Like, it feels like the steam has run out and they're just not able to take the fights like they used to be able to. Again, though, I think for the top of the leaderboard, Xavier deserves a huge shout out. And I think more than anything, Na'Vi can be really prideful with the result that they're going to get, which I'm almost 100% sure is going to be second place now after that game, because they didn't start out very strong, and yet they've brought it back. And if anything, that's probably one of the hardest things to do in a tournament, which is having a really weak day one and then being able to scrape back from that defeat that you've had.
Well, I mean, speaking about bringing it back, why don't we take a closer look at Bigatron, as we talked about earlier on, and compare their stats today up against their stats from the first 3 days of play. Because turning it around is something Bigatron have done. They've done it in the past, and they're doing it yet again here. The unfortunate part is it might just be a little bit too late for them to get higher than they currently are in the rankings, but we're going to find out. And what we can see, massive amount of damage increase, kills increase, points increase, everything is on the up and up for this team.
That point increase is absolutely insane. Yeah,
almost double of everything. But yeah, just the fact they're able to get quite a few number of kills as well, really helping them out. And it's just kind of unfortunate, isn't it, that it just has to happen on the very final day. And that's what happens when you have such a short format for an event. You need to deliver on each and every one of the days.
I think one thing in particular that I'm going to stand out here for me is definitely Luxy. This guy is so good on the off angle, and in the previous games, he's just been dying on that off angle, which is not what you want him to do if he's your special in that case. This time, he's so much more confident today, and he's actually getting those knocks.
Yeah, I mean, confidence has always played a key factor, I'd say, into this team. I mean, we even saw during PMGC, like, how down Lux and Zuxi were on themselves and their team, of feeling like they let everyone down in their team, in their country as well. And obviously, when they get that confidence, we see what they can do, as they've been able to pick up 2 chicken dinners today. But I'm curious, can they maintain that confidence going forward into the last match? You want to end on a high note? Obviously, we still have half a year to go in PUBG Mobile Esports. We got the $6 million on the line at PMGC this year. More money in that one event alone than the entirety of last year. But we'll see as we're about to head into our final match. I think we might go into overalls though really quickly to set the scene for how close some of these teams are from ranking up here and potentially getting more money when it comes to our prize pool to donate to the charity of their choices. And yeah, it looks like basically a done deal here. It looks like Valdez will be able to close out as first place. But there still is maybe, I think even Na'Vi pretty comfortable in second place, as you're saying, Blink. Maybe Xavier or Zeus, or maybe Bigatron with another chicken dinner here could actually ladder up a rank.
Yeah, I think that this 3rd, 4th, and 5th placing is where really all that movement can happen. Valdez and Na'Vi, they're pretty secure in their spot at the moment, unless we see some insane game from Xavier and, you know, Na'Vi go out really early in this game, which is not out of the ordinary, to be honest with you. This is something that could happen. But yeah, Xavier needs to hold on to this spot. They've not had the most amazing games of the past 2. But yeah, Zeus are in for a good game right now, especially having the bad game now. Feast of famine, boys.
Also got to give a shout out to A1 Esports. I feel like this particular event has been a bit of a disappointment for all the South Asian teams. Like you're talking about the teams from Nepal, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan as well. But A1 Esports, considering a very slow start to the on the first day, they were very quiet alongside I8, and it slowly started to have a bit of a resurgence. And the fact that they've managed to crack the top 8, of course, like they could still slip on down further if they don't perform in the final game. But I feel like when it comes to the South Asian representatives, A1 have done a pretty good job representing the country.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're saying before, we're getting to see a little bit of life at South Korea and Japan, you know, regions we don't normally get to cover too much when it comes to English, and also haven't been able to perform too well outside of Bluebees that we saw at PMGC. But it's nice to see there's some other teams that can pick up that flame, that torch, and hopefully carry themselves through into PMGC in the main event. Let's take a look, though, at our other teams. Other 8 teams are the last teams at the moment before we do head into this final match. And there's still a couple of names in there that we're unfortunately missing as we've been taking a look. Fnatic Zombies have had an okay day so far. Blacklist International kind of feel for them here. Didn't they start off the entire event with a chicken dinner? They were looking phenomenal on day 1.
They're the only team with 2 chicken dinners on this page. I think that they really tried to get towards the end, but now these teams are feeling much more solidified in their position at the moment, not making as much mistakes. I think Blacklist has kind of capitalized on a lot of that, Blur.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like they're a team who rely purely a lot on the placement points, which is kind of evident as well, right? They have 74 placement points, which is 22 more than the kills they have. And if you look at the kills, it's only like 2 or 3 teams which are below them, which are NASA, Myth, and Fnatic Zombies, who are way at the bottom of the table. So yeah, I feel like the fact that they were a little too over-reliant on not taking fights might have come and bit them in the butt later on.
Well, you know what? It is a learning experience for them. It's a learning experience for a lot of teams out here, getting that true international competition. And hopefully for them, they take this back to their own regions. They, you know, think about what to do better, how to improve themselves, and then coming into the next event, they can blow us all away and really put out a standout performance. I mean, still, any experience you can get from this event is fantastic. Of course, it's for a great cause as well. All the money going over to charity to help vaccinate the world and leave no one behind. And we're not going to leave our commentators behind either. The game is about to kick off here, a final match of the PMWI. But before we get to that, once again, going to remind you, the milestones. This is really hit every single one to get you guys all more rewards at home. Don't say we didn't do anything for you guys. We're trying to help you out here on the stream. Let's bring our commentators in now. It's the final match of the entire line. It's the final day here of the Gamers Without Borders in total. And what a better way to end it off with these two fine gentlemen here.
It's already been 20 games. Last game on the menu this time around, and after that we'll be crowned now champion. But in the words of Blank, and he said it right. At 4th, 5th, 6th place position. See if the teams in the last moment in the final stretch can actually make it.
We counted BTR out, to be fair, after
That's always the mistake.
that 4th game. They just put themselves back up there. 25 points. Well, 26 is going to realistically be required, and that is a chicken dinner plus 10 kills, so by no means is it easy, but that mountain is climbable. They have all the gear on, and they're ready to put up a fight. But just gotta say, like, 16 countries being represented in the PMWI East, 32 across the East and West completely, $3 million all for charity. It's a pleasure, it's been an honor, it's been absolutely insane to be covering this with you. And into our final game, just want to say thank you to all the countries, all the fans, all the supporters, all the players, and everybody behind the scenes for putting it all together. Yous are absolutely amazing.
And for the boys on the desk doing a fantastic job for this
Yes, sir.
whole event for the World Invitational, and especially Jason. He's been doing East and West. This guy's mental. He's out of his goddamn mind. You know what? We're going to be out of our minds at the end of this game, Imperium, because we are going to be dropping on the battlegrounds for the very last time for this World Invitational East. And we'll see who's going to be able to close it off with an absolute bang. Who will find great closure to their World Invitational event and adventure. We'll have to see, but man, can't wait to see how things are going to come out. Are we going to see something out of the ordinary to find closure to this one? We'll see, but so far it just seems pretty standard with a more southern eastern playing path coming on through. So teams like Na'Vi, George Paul, not going to be there. So I8, you be careful now, okay? Because you could get hot dropped on.
You be careful now. No, run along, stay safe, be careful out there. And, you know, with the Xavier, they haven't really had the best of days, but either of Na'Vi, you know, they haven't really had the best of days. It is possible for the Xavier to overtake second. Now, it would require a massive result and possibly a bit of a risk-taking from the Xavier, and if they take that risk and it kind of bites them, they could also lose that third place. So I think, I know what your answer is gonna be, but I gotta ask anyway, do you think it's worth them taking a risk?
I'm always for a risk at the end. I think it's great content in general. You know, content is what we're here for. We want to see some fights. We want to see some teams going at each other's throats. But it depends where you are. If you're in a strong position and you have a risk of, if you have something to lose, then do not go for it. If you're Valdez and you're so comfortable, you can go ruin chances of teams down below and do whatever the hell you want. So I would say mostly it's what position you're in.
Yeah, for sure. Not only do we have a hot drop between Na'Vi and I8, but we also have a hot drop between Fnatic Zombies and Myths. Now, Myths, I haven't seen them drop in Novo at all. Is it just because it's the last game of the day and they want to have a bit of fun? But they're dropping on Zombies. They want to have the fight in Nova. Till we move on over to that one, gotta have a look, obviously, at the positioning of Na'Vi. They have a bit of a 2-2 split, so I8, they seem to at least recovered from the first game of the day where they maybe got caught out by Na'Vi. Although Johnny, he's taking a bit of damage. Unfortunately, Meku hits the window sill and can't connect all those shots.
Hey, look, not gonna lie, we have two tournaments happening right now. Tournament currently at the top for first, and we also have the tournament at the bottom. See, it's going to be 16th, and that's between Fnatic, Zombies, and Myths. So we'll see how that goes.
True.
It's going to be peeking through
Nice.
that corridor. It is not much good Meku could really do. User them going to be shitting it down with that shotgun and back. That's the kill confirmed. See you later, Alligator. It was good seeing you. Back to the lobby you go for the very last time as Na'Vi down to 3. I mean, hey, at least it does seem like I8 learned, right? Then they're going to drop on us because of the pain path. We're going to drop on top of each other to actually be prepared to get the man advantage in these fights. They got the first one. Now they're going to be putting the focus potentially onto Kitsune.
Well, it is important that they take that body advantage and they look to push with. Of course, they don't want to overstep their mark and they want to make sure they have relevant information. But the important thing is that they look to stick together and cover each other's back. Make sure that if one knock comes through, you're able to counter that instantly. Up the stairs, a nade comes through, nearly connects on in through the smoke. Does tickle Kitsune down to about half health, but he's able to breathe a little sigh of relief. Tixie, he's in the back line by that long tower. He could get a bit of a backstab and create an opening for the rest of his Navi teammates.
That's the thing, they got such a good wraparound. One player to the east, one player center, one player to the west, and I think that is a good way to play it out. Kitsune, luckily enough though, no one's going to be trying to push him on top of the roof. And he's just waiting. This is so smart from Navi. I'm loving it because he knows that if he plays on the roof, the only areas you can really push this location from are from the staircase over to the east and the one to the west, which are covered by both Tixie and Matic. So there's literally 0% chance you're able to push it if you do not get rid of those two players beforehand. So I'm loving how this setup works out for Navi. Despite having the man advantage, the setup is just 10 out of 10.
What is Uzum doing? I'm sorry, but he's prone down in the building, and I gotta wonder, he's on his own, that's one thing, but why isn't he looking to have a look on the back line? I understand he's in a position where he can't join up with his teammates, but he has to start being proactive, creating a bit of a distraction, because he can be the reason, although he might be a sacrificial lamb, he can be the starting point for IA grabbing a much stronger hold of this team fight and potentially wiping out Navi, but until then, in this moment and situation, he's a bit of a dead weight. And I know that sounds harsh.
It can hurt a little bit. I fully respect that. Coming out from that fight. So, NASA, when will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences? Being spread, trying to peek it out. Valdez, I mean, they're dropping Rozhok / Sunken City split. You should not try and peek that position. There's always going to be something coming against you. Yeah, there you go. NASA always losing one player early, but it seemed like they like to start. They want to make it easy for the teams around them. We're going to give ourselves a handicap. Then we'll be down to 3, and we'll truly have a challenge, even though, well they're not top 3, so I don't know. No, maybe.
I don't know.
It's a weird challenge.
By the way, zombies and myths, they actually avoided each other, and they're both disengaging separately, so maybe it was one of those things where myths didn't think zombies were going to drop in Novo, and they thought it was going to be free, so that's something to kind of think about. Another knock, by the way, Valdez onto a member Nasser with a bolt action sniper, so it's nice to see that being pulled through. Other teams inside the circle, which does hover towards Military Island. We could see our very first and only Military Island finish in the PMWI, but Geek Fam are still on that kind of split area around Gaka, which I think is okay considering where that phase 1 is. A1 had that coastal line mainland position to drop close by. They didn't have to move forward, and they
You turn the wall!
আরে কি শুরু করছে এরা দুজন আছে এই যাত্রে তোমার খাওয়া দাওয়া এখানে যাও তুমি যাও আচ্ছা দাঁড়া